Hello, good morning students of class 12 commerce. Welcome to Pandra Sir's virtual class on development economics. Yesterday we discussed about the suggested changes the Planning Commission of India and what suggestions they gave regarding the changes in the industrial sector or secondary sector to put it on the right track, so that India could develop rapidly. And in this series, today we are going to, and yesterday we discussed about a classification of industries under a different schedule, that is Schedule A, Schedule B and Schedule C. How Schedule A, how many numbers of industries are there in Schedule A, and how government controls, government has a monopoly over those industries, and category B, where both government and private sector can play, and category C, which is given to the private sector. So, some here, keeping an eye on the rapid development, the planners decided to give a major chunk of production activity to the private sector. But at the same time, they made many rules and regulations to put a control on the activities of private players in industrial sector. So in that series, today we are going to discuss about industrial licensing and industrial concession. So first, coming to industrial licensing. What is a license? A license is a written authority or a written permission, authentic permission given by the government of India to a producer to produce a particular goods or service. Once again I repeat, a license is an authentic permission that is given by the government of India to a particular producer to be involved in the production activity to produce a particular goods or service. So earlier there was no need for licensing. That means producer, whatever they wished, they could start the production of that goods or services without any restriction. But now what the government thought is that in order to put an effective control on the activities of production by the private players, they made the system, they made the process of licensing, and now in order to enter into the industry where it is permitted by the government that a private player can enter into the industry, but at its wish it cannot enter. It needs to get the permission, that is called a license of the government, and after getting the license to produce, only the private player can produce that particular goods or services. So this made the system a little complicated, but there was no other way to put an effective control on the entire industry that were involved in the production activity. Then the other point is industrial concession. Industrial concession. In the agricultural concession, in the agricultural sector, we have already discussed about the agricultural concession that the government used to give on certain activities like production of your fertilizers, production of your capital equipments in order to bring rapid growth in the agricultural sector. The same way, the industrial sector also needed some protection from the government, and here the government intervened into the situation, and sometimes it allowed some sort of concession to the producers in order to keep them intact in the production activity, so that they would not quit the production activity or the industry. So now here we need to know why at all a producer quits the industry or give up production activity. That is, when a producer is not able to earn the minimum profit that he wished, then he quit contributes the industry. But the government needs production, the government needs increase in the production of various goods and services being produced by the producer sector. So in such a case, sometimes two particular industries, the government decides or the government thinks it would be better if they are given with some sort of concessions. So in what way the government gives concession? The government gives concession in the way by reducing tax, in the way by giving subsidies. So all these are falling under the category of government concession to private sector in order to keep them intact in the industry and make them continue the production of goods and services. So there is a debate that whether the concession or the subsidies should be given or not. We have earlier also discussed. But whatever it may be, in the initial stage, in the starting stage, it is highly necessary to give concession. Otherwise, the poor producers who don't have a mighty money power, they cannot continue to produce in the sector. So, thus industrial licensing and industrial concession are two ways of government intervention into the private sector to bring the production activities, to bring the industrial sector into a way on a track, and that track would lead to rapid development of the industrial sector. Now, we are going to discuss about the classification of industries on the basis of investment. Earlier, on the basis of whether it is government control or private control, we have already made a classification of industries, but today we are going to discuss the classification of industry on the basis of industry. And in that classification, first comes the small scale industries, in short which is called SSI. This is a revolution in the industrial sector, that the number of small scale industries increased in our country after government intervention, or after the planners made suitable plans to encourage the small producer to get involved in the production activity. So, small scale industry. What is a small scale industry? So, in terms of total amount of investment, if we consider, then in the year 1950 to 56, the limit was 15 lakhs. So, any industry that invested up to 15 lakh, that is the case in between 1950 and 1956. So, any industry that invested 15 lakhs or less would fall in the category of SSI or small scale industry. But as with the time the value of money changes, at present time the limit has increased up to 1 crore to 5 crore. So nowadays an industry would be termed or called as small scale industry or SSI if it has an investment that ranges between 1 crore rupees to 5 crore rupees maximum. That is the definition of small scale industry. And now we are going to discuss some of the merits of small scale industries and why the planners thought to encourage small scale industry to bring industrial revolution in the nation or in the economy. So, benefits of small scale industries. The plus points of small scale industries are, the first one is, because the investment limit is lower, then the producer cannot afford to use capital equipments or capital intensive technology of production. That's why the producer would resort to labor intensive technology, where it would prefer more number of laborers rather than heavy capital equipments or machineries. So, what would be the benefit of that? When the producer is supporting labor intensive technology of production, then more and more workforce will be engaged or given employment, and because with an increase in the number of small scale industry, more and more of our workforce were employed, then the result, the chain of action would be that their level of income and the overall level of employment in the economy would rise, would increase. So, what would happen when more and more people are now getting employed and earning more? Then obviously the earning is meant for spending. They would spend what previously they were consuming. Now with more income, they would start consuming more goods and services. In this way, the overall, the aggregate demand of the economy would rise, which is a good symptom of development. So, reduction of regional imbalances. So earlier, just now we are going to compare small scale industry with large scale industry. So the main demerit of large scale industries is that the place where the industry is set up, then people living nearby that industrial area gets more benefit rather than people who lives far away from that industrial area. But because small scale industry can be set up at any place, then what the result is? The result is that almost now the regional imbalance in terms of income and employment reduces. People living in remote area, in villages, they also started getting more income, and thus the regional imbalance in terms of income and employment started falling. So, and the chain of action, the result is that the distribution of national income started becoming more and more equitable. So what do we mean by equitable distribution of our national income? As we have already discussed, our national income is nothing but the value of final goods and services produced during an accounting year. So the income earlier, what happened? The statistics said that only 20 or less than that percentage of population were getting more than 80% of our national income, and a huge population of 80% or more, they were getting merely 20% of the national income. This suggests that the distribution of national income was not equitable, but with the increase in the number of small scale industry, the regional imbalance were removed, and now people from all corner, even remote areas, got more and more income. Their aggregate demand started increasing, the employment level in the economy started increasing, and the distribution of national income started becoming more and more equitable. Hence, the final result is a decrease in the gap between rich and poor, which is a good symptom for a developing economy like ours. So this is all today about the changes that were suggested by our planning commission in the industrial sector, and tomorrow we will continue the discussion and we will discuss about all other aspects of industrial revolution that were planned by our planning commission. So go through the books, go through the notes, go through the videos, and please ask me even whenever you are getting a little bit of even doubt. So thank you and have a nice day.